The sun was setting over, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Park stood at the edge of his uncle's salvage yard, looking up at the stars that were just beginning to appear. He was 18 years old, with messy black hair and grease stains on his worn jacket. His hands were rough from years of working with metal and machinery. Had been an orphan since he was 7. His parents died in a transport accident and his uncle took him in. The salvage yard became his home and broken machines became his friends, but always dreamed of something more. He wanted to fly among those stars. He wanted to be a pilot. For 3 years he had saved every credit he earned. He worked double shifts. He skipped meals. He wore the same clothes until they fell apart, all because he had one goal: to buy his own ship. Today was the day of the government auction. The military was selling old, decommissioned fighters. Most of them were stripped of anything valuable but did not care. He just needed something that could fly. His best friend met him at the auction site. She was 19 with short hair and sharp eyes. She was studying engineering at the local academy, and she was the person new. "You really saved 12,000 credits?" asked, looking impressed. "Every single one," said with a nervous smile. The auction hall was crowded with dealers, collectors, and scavengers. They all wanted the best ships for the lowest prices, felt small among them. He had less money than most people here, and he knew it. The auctioneer began showing the ships one by one. A Hawk-class interceptor sold for 50,000 credits. A modified cargo runner went for 35,000. His heart sank with each sale. Everything was too expensive. Then the auctioneer brought up the last ship on the list. It was a Falcon-class fighter, but it looked terrible. The hull was covered in dents and scratches. One of the wings had a large crack running through it. The paint was so faded that could not even tell what color it used to be. "This vessel was recovered from deep space 200 years ago," the auctioneer said, sounding bored. "It has never been successfully activated. The navigation console is fused shut. We're selling it as is, no guarantees. Starting bid 5,000 credits." Nobody raised their hand. 4,000, the auctioneer tried. Still nothing. 3,000, come on people, it's good scrap metal at least. A dealer in the back raised his hand lazily. 3,000 to the gentleman in the back, do I hear 4? His heart was pounding, this was his chance. He raised his hand, 4,000. The dealer looked annoyed but raised his hand again, 5,000. 6,000, said quickly. The dealer studied for a moment, then shrugged and put his hand down. The ship was not worth fighting over. "Sold to the young man for 6,000 credits, the auctioneer announced. "Grab's arm, you just bought a piece of junk that doesn't even work." "I know," said grinning, "but it's my piece of junk." They spent the rest of the evening towing the ship back to the salvage yard. His uncle, a quiet man named Park Minu, just shook his head when he saw it. "That thing will never fly," Minu said. "I'll make it fly," replied. For the next 2 weeks, worked on the ship every day. Came to help whenever she could. They replaced damaged panels, rewired the electrical systems, and patched the cracked wing. Slowly, the ship began to look less like garbage and more like a real spacecraft. But the navigation console remained a mystery. It was sealed with some kind of material that had never seen before. His cutting tools did nothing to it, heat did not affect it, even acid left no mark. "This metal is not from Earth," said one night, examining it closely. "I've never seen anything like it." "The military found this ship in deep space," reminded her. "Maybe it's alien technology." Alien laughed. "The ship looks human-made. The controls are in Korean. The seats are sized for humans." "Then why can't we open this console?" Had no answer. On the 15th night was alone in the ship. He was sitting in the pilot's seat, staring at the sealed console. He placed his hand on it, feeling frustrated. "Why won't you open?" he muttered. Suddenly the console grew warm under his palm, pulled his hand back in surprise. The strange metal began to glow with a soft blue light. Lines of energy spread across its surface like cracks forming in ice. Then the console opened. Inside was a small crystal, glowing with the same blue light. The moment the crystal was exposed, the entire ship came alive. Lights flickered on. Engines hummed to life. Screens that had been dark for centuries lit up with strange symbols. Sat frozen, his heart racing. A holographic image appeared in front of him. It showed symbols and shapes that he did not recognize. They were not Korean, not English, not any language he had ever seen. They looked ancient, like cave paintings made by beings far older than humanity. Then a voice spoke. It was soft and feminine, but it sounded broken, like a recording that had been damaged over time. "Transmission activated, awaiting inheritor confirmation." "What?" a whispered. The voice continued. DNA pattern recognized, species human origin sol system you are compatible. Compatible for what? There was a long pause. The holographic symbols shifted and rearranged themselves. Slowly, they began to form words in Korean. You are the inheritors. His hands were shaking. Inheritor of what? What is this ship? Who are you? The voice seemed to struggle. I am ship artificial intelligence created by the 4 million years ago. I have been waiting for you. Outside the ship was walking toward the salvage yard with coffee for. She saw the blue light glowing from inside the old fighter and dropped both cups. She ran to the ship and climbed inside. What she saw made her freeze. Was surrounded by holographic images showing star maps, technical diagrams, and symbols from a civilization that had died before Earth even had life. And in the center of it all, a small glowing crystal pulsed like a heartbeat. Breath, what did you do? He looked at her with wide eyes. I don't know, but I think I just woke something up. The ship's engines grew louder. The lights grew brighter. And somewhere far away in space, sensors that had been silent for millions of years detected a signal they had been waiting for. The inheritor had been found. The salvage yard was quiet except for the hum of the ancient ship. Sat in the pilot's seat, still trying to understand what had happened. Stood behind him, her eyes moving across the holographic displays that filled the cockpit. Said carefully, can you explain what you mean by inheritor? The AI's voice was clearer now, as if speaking was helping her systems recover. They were the first intelligent species in this galaxy. We existed for 3 million years before any other civilization rose. We built wonders that younger species cannot imagine, but we knew our time was ending. What happened to you? Asked. We were hunted, replied. There was no escape, so we made a plan. We hid pieces of ourselves across the galaxy, ships like this one, technology, knowledge. We hoped that someday a young species would find them, a species with potential. Shook his head. Why humans? We're nobody. The hegemony treats us like children. We've only been in space for 300 years. That is exactly why, said. Young species are invisible. They are not seen as threats, the danger that destroyed us. It does not notice small civilizations. Humans are perfect. Perfect for what? Asked. To carry our legacy, to prepare, to fight when the time comes. Put her hand on his shoulder. This is crazy. We should tell someone, the government, the military. The military had this ship for 200 years, reminded her. They couldn't figure it out. They sold it as junk. Because they were not the inheritor, explained. The ship was waiting for the right person, someone with compatible DNA, someone with the right spirit. Spirit laughed bitterly. I'm just a kid from a salvage yard. I fix broken engines for a living. They did not choose warriors or kings, said. We chose dreamers, people who look at the stars and want to reach them, people who see broken things and want to fix them. You are exactly what we hope to find. For a long moment, nobody spoke. The blue light from the crystal pulsed gently like a sleeping heart. Finally broke the silence. Okay, let's say this is all true. What happens now? Its holographic display changed. It showed a star map with hundreds of glowing points scattered across the galaxy. There are 400 vessels hidden in space. They have been sleeping for millions of years. As the inheritor can awaken them, he can access all of our technology, our weapons, our knowledge. Weapons, said nervously. They were not violent, but we knew that whoever inherited our legacy might need to defend themselves. This ship has capabilities that no modern vessel can match. To demonstrate, brought up a technical display. The ship's specifications appeared on the screen. Faster than light travel that was 10 times more efficient than anything the hegemony had. Adaptive armor that could repair itself. Energy weapons that could destroy a warship with a single shot. Stared at the numbers. This is impossible. It is technology, said simply. 4 million years more advanced than anything in the current galaxy. Stood up from the pilot's seat. He walked to the back of the cockpit and leaned against the wall. His mind was spinning. Yesterday, he was just a poor kid trying to buy a broken ship. Now he was being told he was the inheritor of an ancient civilization. I need air, he said. I need to think. He climbed out of the ship and walked into the salvage yard. The night was cool and the stars were bright above him. He had looked at those stars his whole life, dreaming of flying among them. He never imagined they were looking back at him. Followed him outside. Are you okay? No, admitted. This is too much. I just wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to fly cargo runs, maybe explore some new planets. I didn't ask for this. I know, said softly, but maybe that's exactly why it's you. You didn't ask for power. You're not trying to rule anyone. You just want to fly. Looked at her. What should I do? I think you should at least learn what the left behind. You don't have to become some galactic hero. But if there's really a danger coming, shouldn't someone know about it? Before could answer's voice came through a speaker on the ship's hull. I am detecting incoming signals. 3 vessels have entered the Sol system. They are hegemony warships. And ran back to the ship. The holographic displays showed 3 large ships dropping out of hyperspace near Earth's moon. How did they find us? Asked. When the ship activated, it sent out an energy signature, explained. The hegemony has sensors watching for technology. They have been hunting for our artifacts for thousands of years. They know something awakened on Earth. Felt cold, what will they do? They will demand that Earth surrender the ship and its pilot. The hegemony does not tolerate advanced technology in the hands of lesser species. They will take it by force if necessary. On the screens, they could see the hegemony ships moving closer to Earth. Each one was massive, covered in weapons and sensors. Earth's small defense fleet looked like toys compared to them. We have to run, said. The ship is ready, replied. But if we leave, the hegemony may punish Earth for harboring technology. And if we stay, they will take the ship, they will take you, and they will bury our knowledge forever. Grab's arm, we can't let that happen. If what says is true, if there really is a danger coming, the galaxy needs this technology. Looked at the hegemony ships on the screen. He thought about his uncle still sleeping in the house nearby. He thought about Earth, his home, the only world he had ever known. Then he thought about the stars, about the who had waited millions of years for someone to find them, about the danger they had warned of, about the 400 ships scattered across the galaxy waiting to be awakened. He sat down in the pilot's seat. He said, "Can you teach me to fly this thing?" "I can guide you," replied. "The ship will respond to your thoughts. It was designed for inheritors, not trained pilots." Took a deep breath, he placed his hands on the controls. They felt warm, alive, like the ship was welcoming him. He said, "You don't have to come with me." "Don't be stupid," she replied, strapping herself into the co-pilot's seat. "Someone needs to keep you out of trouble." Smiled despite his fear, "Take us up quietly if possible." The ship rose smoothly from the salvage yard. It moved faster than expected, climbing through the atmosphere in seconds. Soon they were in space, looking down at the blue and green ball that was Earth. On the sensors, the hegemony ships began to turn toward them. "They have detected us," announced. "They are sending a message." A harsh voice filled the cockpit. "Unidentified vessel, you are carrying restricted technology. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will be met with force." His hands were shaking on the controls, 3 warships against 1 small fighter. There was no way to win this battle. He said quietly, "Is there another way?" "Yes," replied. "I know a path they cannot follow. An ancient hyperspace lane that they created millions of years ago. It is not on any modern map." "Then let's go." The ship turned away from Earth, away from the approaching warships. The stars stretched and blurred as the engines powered up. Behind them, the hegemony ships fired, but it was too late. The ancient fighter vanished into hyperspace, carrying a scared teenager, an engineering student, and the hopes of a civilization that had died 4 million years ago. The chase had begun. Hyperspace was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Through the cockpit windows, could see ribbons of blue and white light flowing past them like rivers of energy. The ship moved smoothly through this strange space, following a path that had not been used in 4 million years. "The hegemony cannot follow us here," explained. "This lane exists outside their navigation maps. To them, we simply vanished." Was studying the displays in front of her. Where does this path lead? To a neutral zone 3 star systems away from Earth. From there, we will need to decide our next destination. Leaned back in his seat, his body was tired but his mind would not rest. What's happening on Earth right now? Paused before answering. I am detecting communications. The hegemony is demanding that Earth's government explain how they obtained technology. Earth's leaders are claiming no knowledge of the ship. Will the hegemony believe them? Unlikely, but attacking Earth directly would cause problems for the hegemony. Other species would protest. For now, they will search for us instead. The hyperspace journey lasted 6 hours, tried to sleep but could not. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the hegemony warships. He saw his uncle's salvage yard. He saw the blue glow of the crystal that had changed his life. When they finally dropped out of hyperspace, they were near a small red star with 2 rocky planets orbiting it. There was no sign of other ships. We're safe for now, said. Stood up and stretched her arms. We need a plan, we can't just fly around randomly. She's right, agreed. You mentioned there are 400 ships hidden in the galaxy. Can we find them? Yes, but they are scattered across vast distances. It would take years to visit them all. What about the message you mentioned, the one the left behind? Where do we find that? Its holographic display changed. It showed a distant region of space near the galactic core. The primary beacon is located here. It contains the complete history of my creators and instructions for the inheritor, but it is very far away. How far? At maximum speed, approximately 3 months of travel. Side 3 months was a long time to be hunted. Suddenly, the ship's sensors beeped, an incoming communication signal. Someone is contacting us, announced. The signal is encrypted, but I can decode it. A face appeared on the main screen. It was a young woman with dark hair and tired eyes. She looked human, but there was something intense about her expression. You're the ones with the ship, she said. It was not a question. Hesitated, who are you? My name is, I'm an information broker. I've been tracking energy signatures for 5 years. When your ship woke up, it sent out a pulse that I detected. Are you with the hegemonies? Laughed bitterly. The hegemony killed my family. I hate them more than you can imagine. I'm contacting you because I want to help. Help how? Asked suspiciously. I know where there's an outpost. Not just an empty ship, but an actual structure with preserved technology. It's hidden on a frozen moon in the Kirin system. I've been trying to reach it for years, but I couldn't get past the security. Maybe your ship can. Looked at, she shrugged, her expression uncertain. How do we know we can trust you? Asked. You don't, admitted. But the hegemony has 3 hunter fleets looking for you right now. You need allies. I'm the only one offering. Before could respond, interrupted. I am detecting multiple hyperspace signatures. Hegemony hunter ships are entering this system. On the sensors, 5 small, fast ships appeared. They immediately began scanning the area. They found us faster than expected, said, we must leave now. Space was still on the screen. I'm sending you the coordinates for the Kirin system. Meet me there if you can survive. Her signal cut off as grabbed the controls. The hunter ships had spotted them and were accelerating. They're too fast, said, watching the display. We can't outrun them in normal space. Then we fight, said grimly. The ship's weapons are online, reported, but you have never used them before. Teach me. The first hunter ship fired. A bolt of energy shot past the cockpit, missing by only a few meters. Turned the ship hard, feeling the controls respond to his movements like they were part of his body. Focus on one ship at a time, instructed. The weapon systems will lock onto your target automatically, just think about shooting. Turned toward the nearest hunter ship. He thought about the trigger. The ship fired. A beam of bright white light shot from the nose of the fighter. It struck the hunter ship directly. The hegemony vessel exploded instantly, leaving nothing but debris. Gasped, one shot, you destroyed it with one shot. Felt sick, he had just killed whoever was on that ship, but there was no time to think about it. The other 4 hunter ships were still coming. He turned and fired again, another explosion, another ship gone. The remaining 3 hunter ships spread out trying to surround him. They were fast and experienced, and was just a teenager who had never been in a real fight. Behind you, shouted. He spun the ship around just as a hunter ship fired. The shot hit the wing and alarms filled the cockpit. Damage to the port stabilizer, reported. Armor is regenerating. Regenerating, watched in amazement as the damage on the wing began to heal itself. The technology was incredible. He focused and fired at the ship that had hit him, direct hits, 3 down. But the last 2 hunter ships were smarter. They flew in different directions, making it impossible for to target both at once. I need help, he muttered. Suddenly, another ship dropped out of hyperspace. It was a human vessel, a patrol cruiser with Korean markings on its hull. It immediately opened fire on one of the hunter ships, destroying it. This is Captain of the Korean Space Force, a voice announced. Unknown vessel, we're here to assist. The last hunter ship tried to retreat, but Captain's cruiser was faster. A volley of missiles finished it off. Slumped in his seat, breathing hard, who are you? Captain's face appeared on the screen. He was in his 40s with gray hair and a serious expression. I'm someone who believes in humanity's future. When I heard what you did, I knew I had to find you. You, the government, to help us. The government is scared. The hegemony has controlled them for too long, but not all of us are willing to bow down. Captain paused. You're heading to the Kirin system, aren't you? I intercepted that woman's message. Can we trust her? Is a ghost. She's been a thorn in the hegemony's side for years. If she says there's an outpost, it's probably true. Looked at, she nodded slowly. Then come with us, said, we're going to need all the help we can get. Captain smiled grimly. I was hoping you'd say that. My crew is with me, 12 volunteers who are ready to fight for humanity's future. 2 ships, fewer than 20 people, against the most powerful empire in the galaxy. It seemed hopeless. But as they jumped into hyperspace together, heading toward the frozen moon and its ancient secrets, felt something he had not expected. Hope. For the first time since this journey began, he felt like they might actually have a chance. The frozen moon appeared on the sensors like a white jewel against the blackness of space. Its surface was covered in ice and ancient craters. There was no sign of life, no evidence that anything important was hidden there. But knew the truth, the outpost is beneath the surface. The entrance is located in the largest crater on the northern hemisphere. Captain's cruiser stayed in orbit whilst fighter descended toward the moon. They found waiting for them near the crater's edge. Her small ship was already landed, and she stood outside in a protective suit watching them approach. When landed and stepped outside, the cold hit him immediately. Even through his suit, he could feel the icy temperature. The moon's atmosphere was thin and poisonous. Walked toward them. You made it. I honestly wasn't sure you would. We had help, said, gesturing toward Captain's cruiser in the sky. The Korean Space Force observed. Surprising, most military officers are too afraid to disobey the hegemony. Captain is different. Join them, scanning the crater with a handheld device. I'm detecting a power source deep underground. It's faint, but it's definitely there. His voice came through his helmet speaker. The entrance requires authorization. As the inheritor, you can open it. They walked to the center of the crater. The ice there was different, smoother, almost like glass. Knelt down and placed his hand on it. Nothing happened for a moment. Then the ice began to glow with that familiar blue light. It spread outward in a perfect circle, then the ground opened like a flower blooming. Stairs made of dark metal led down into the frozen depths. After 4 million years, whispered, it still works. They descended carefully. The air grew warmer as they went deeper, and soon they could remove their helmets. Strange lights on the walls activated as they passed, illuminating their path. At the bottom of the stairs, they found a vast underground chamber. It was the size of a sports arena, filled with machines and displays that could not understand. But what caught his attention were the rows of pods lining the walls. Thousands of them, each one glowing softly. What are these? Asked. Stasis chambers, replied. They were designed to preserve individuals for long periods. Walked closer to one of the pods. Through the glass surface, he could see a figure inside. It was humanoid, but clearly not human. The skin was pale with a subtle glow, and the hands had only 4 fingers. They're still alive? He asked in shock. Most of them died long ago when their pods failed, but one still has active life signs. Where? Directed them to a pod in the center of the chamber. It was larger than the others and covered in symbols. Inside was a figure that looked almost peaceful, as if sleeping. This is the caretaker, explained. She was left behind to deliver the final message to the inheritor. She has been waiting for 4 million years. Felt the weight of that number, 4 million years. Civilizations had risen and fallen. Stars had been born and died. And this being had been sleeping through all of it, waiting for this moment. Can we wake her? He asked. Yes, but the revival process is dangerous. Her body has been in stasis for too long. There is a chance she may not survive. Looked at, and they both nodded. Do it, he said. Activated the revival sequence. The pod began to hum and lights flickered across its surface. After several tense minutes, the glass cover slid open. The figure inside took a sudden breath, her eyes opening wide. She looked around the chamber in confusion, then her gaze settled on. She spoke in a language he did not understand. She is asking who you are, translated. She is asking if you are the one. Tell her yes, said. Tell her I'm the inheritor. The woman listened to his translation. Then slowly she smiled. It was a sad smile filled with relief and sorrow at the same time. She spoke again and continued translating. She says her name is too difficult for humans to pronounce. She asks if you can give her a simple name. Thought for a moment, can I call her? The woman repeated the name, testing how it sounded. Then she nodded in acceptance. Climbed out of the pod with difficulty. Her body was weak from the long sleep, helped her stand, and they guided her to a seat in the chamber. When was ready, she began to speak, translated every word. They were the first children of the galaxy. We explored every corner of space. We built wonders that would take 1,000,000 lifetimes to describe. We thought we would exist forever. She paused, her luminescent eyes growing darker. But we attracted the attention of something ancient, something that had been sleeping since before the stars were born. We called it the Hollow. What is the Hollow? Asked. It is not a species or an empire. It is a hunger. It feeds on civilizations that grow too powerful. It waits in the darkness between galaxies, watching patient. When a civilization reaches its peak, when it begins to touch true greatness, the Hollow wakes and consumes it. The chamber felt colder despite the warm air. The tried to fight continued. We had the greatest technology in history, but the Hollow cannot be destroyed by weapons. It is not physical, it is a force like gravity or time. It simply erases. How did you escape? Asked. We didn't, they are gone, but before the end we scattered pieces of ourselves across the galaxy. Ships, outposts, knowledge. We hoped that a young species would find them, a species still small enough to be invisible to the Hollow. She looked directly at. Humans are young, you are barely a spark in the cosmic timeline, but sparks can become fires. We chose humans because you have something rare, you grow fast and you never give up. Shook his head, I'm just one person. I can't fight something that destroyed your entire civilization. You don't have to fight alone, said. The 400 ships in the galaxy, I can give you control of all of them. They are waiting for the Inheritor's command. And the Hollow, is it coming? Was quiet for a long moment. It is stirring. The galaxy is more developed now than when we fell. More civilizations, more technology, more light in the darkness. The Hollow notices light. Before anyone could respond, Captain's voice crackled through the communicator. We have incoming. Hegemony fleet just entered the system, 12 warships. The group rushed back to the surface. Through the thin atmosphere, they could see explosions in the sky. Captain's cruiser was engaging the Hegemony fleet, but it was hopelessly outmatched. He's buying us time, realized. Ran to his ship, everyone get inside, we're leaving. But grabbed his arm, wait, before we go let me give you what you came for. She pressed her four-fingered hand against the ice. More symbols appeared and data began streaming into ship. The command codes for all vessels announced, we now have control of the entire fleet. Above them, Captain's cruiser took a direct hit. Its engines failed and it began falling toward the moon's surface. No, shouted. Captain's voice came through one last time, broken by static. Don't mourn us, just show them what humans can do. The cruiser crashed into the ice on the far side of the crater. There was a bright flash, then nothing. 12 good people gone because they believed in him. Stood frozen, tears freezing on his cheeks in the cold air. Pulled him toward the ship. We have to go, their sacrifice means nothing if we die here. He let himself be guided into the cockpit, and followed. The ship lifted off just as Hegemony fighters began descending toward the surface. As they jumped into hyperspace, escaping the Hegemony once again made a silent promise. Captain and his crew would not be forgotten, their sacrifice would mean something. Humanity would rise, the galaxy would know their name. And the Hollow, whatever it was, would learn to fear the species that refused to give up. The journey to the galactic core took 3 weeks, 3 weeks of hiding, running, and planning. The Hegemony had hunters everywhere now. They understood that something important was happening, even if they did not know exactly what. Barely slept during those weeks. He spent his time learning to control the technology, understanding the ship systems, and listening to stories about her lost civilization. Worked on the ship's modifications, making small repairs and improvements. Monitored Hegemony communications, tracking their movements and finding safe paths through space. They had become a team. A small, strange family united by a shared purpose. On the final day of the journey, they gathered in the cockpit as the ship approached its destination. The galactic core was spectacular. Millions of stars crowded together, their light so intense that it almost hurt to look at. The primary beacon is hidden near a dead star, explained. It is protected by ancient defenses. Only the Inheritor can approach safely. What happens when we activate it? Asked. Answered, the beacon will send a signal to every vessel in the galaxy. They will awaken and respond. The signal will also broadcast a message to all civilizations announcing that the Inheritor has risen. And the Hegemony. They will be afraid, but they cannot stop what is about to happen. As they approached the dead star, sensors detected movement. Ships incoming, a lot of them. The display filled with contacts. 30 Hegemony warships led by a massive command vessel that dwarfed everything around it. That's Admiral's flagship, said quietly. He's the most feared commander in the Hegemony. They sent their best. A communication request appeared, accepted it. The face that appeared on the screen was not human. It belonged to a species called the tall and gray-skinned with 4 eyes arranged in a square pattern. Admiral studied with clear contempt. A human child, the Admiral said. This is what the Great Legacy chose. Your species is barely capable of traveling between stars. You are insects pretending to be giants. His hands were shaking, but he forced himself to speak calmly. Maybe, but this insect has something you've been hunting for thousands of years. His 4 eyes narrowed. Surrender the vessel and the technology. In return, I will let Earth survive. Continue resisting and I will reduce you to ashes. You would destroy a whole planet just for this ship. I would destroy 100 planets. The technology cannot be allowed to fall into the hands of lesser species. It would upset the balance of power. The hegemony has maintained order for 10,000 years. I will not let a human child threaten that. Took a deep breath, he looked at his friends, gave him an encouraging nod. His expression was hard and determined. His luminescent eyes were calm, trusting. He turned back to the screen. Admiral, I have a question for you. Have you ever heard of the Hollow? For just a moment, his composure cracked. Fear flickered across his alien features before he controlled it. Where did you hear that name? From the last alive. She told me that something destroyed her civilization, something that's been sleeping for millions of years, something that's starting to wake up. Foolish legends, the destroyed themselves through arrogance. No, said, they died trying to protect the galaxy. They left their technology behind hoping someone would find it, someone who could prepare for what's coming. You're so busy trying to control everything that you can't see the real danger. Made a dismissive gesture. Enough, you have 1 minute to surrender. After that, I will destroy your ship and take what remains. The communication ended. 1 minute, muttered, that's not much time. It's enough, replied, can you guide me to the beacon? Yes, but you will have to fly through their fleet. Smiled grimly, then let's fly. The ship shot forward with incredible speed. The hegemony vessels opened fire immediately, filling space with energy beams and missiles, but the technology was 4 million years more advanced. The ship danced between attacks, its armor absorbing the few shots that hit. Flew like he had never flown before. The ship responded to his thoughts, moving with a grace that should have been impossible. He wove through the fleet, dodging warships and fighters, heading straight for the dead star at the center. There announced the beacons. Floating near the dead star was a structure unlike anything had seen. It was a perfect sphere, dark and smooth, easily 100 kilometers across. As they approached, symbols began appearing on its surface, glowing with blue light. His flagship moved to intercept them. It was massive, bristling with weapons. A single shot from its main cannon could destroy their small fighter. You cannot escape, his voice thundered through the communication system. Your journey ends here, human. The flagship fired. But before the shot could hit, something happened. The beacon activated. A wave of blue energy erupted from the sphere, spreading outward in all directions. It passed through the hegemony ships harmlessly, but it carried a signal. A message that traveled faster than light, reaching every corner of the galaxy in seconds. And then, one by one, they began to wake. Across the galaxy, 400 vessels that had been sleeping for millions of years suddenly came to life. Their systems activated, their engines powered up, and they all received the same message: the inheritor has risen. In the space around ship, a dozen vessels appeared out of hidden locations near the galactic core. They were beautiful, elegant designs that made even the hegemony flagship look primitive. His fleet stopped firing. For the first time, the admiral seemed truly afraid. This is impossible, he whispered. His voice broadcast to every ship in the area. Admiral, the galaxy is changing. You can fight it and lose, or you can accept it and help prepare for what's coming. The Hollow is real, it's waking up, and we're going to need everyone to fight it. There was a long silence. Then, one by one, the hegemony ships began to power down their weapons. The battle was over before it truly began. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. The signal had been heard by every civilization in the galaxy. News spread that an ancient race called the had returned through a human inheritor. Some species were afraid, some were excited, all of them wanted to understand. Earth was suddenly important. Diplomats and scientists from across the galaxy requested meetings. The hegemony, forced to recognize humanity as a major power, had to renegotiate all their treaties. Was overwhelmed. He was called a hero, a liberator, a leader. People wanted him to give speeches and make decisions and guide the future of galactic civilization. He hated it. 3 months after the beacon's activation finally found a quiet moment. He landed his ship, which he had renamed Dawn, in a familiar place. His uncle's salvage yard. Menu was waiting for him. The old man had watched the news. He knew what his nephew had become. You look tired, Menu said simply. I am's admitted. Walked out of the ship followed by and they had become permanent crew members, his closest friends and allies. So what happens now, asked. Looked up at the stars, the same stars he had watched his whole life. They looked different now. They were not just distant lights anymore. They were places he had been, places he might go again. I don't know, he said honestly. The hollow is still out there, the galaxy is still scared, there's so much to do. Placed her four-fingered hand on his shoulder. The spent 3 million years building our civilization. You have time, you don't have to solve everything tonight. Laughed quietly, then what should I do tonight? Grinned, I think you should learn to fly properly. You still drift to the left during tight turns. I do not. You absolutely do. They walked toward the house together, arguing playfully. Above them, the ship called Dawn sat peacefully in the salvage yard where everything had started. Somewhere in the darkness between galaxies, the hollow stirred. It sensed the light growing brighter. It would wake soon. But for the first time in millions of years, the galaxy was not defenseless. A young species had inherited the legacy of the ancients. An 18-year-old kid from a salvage yard had changed the course of history. And he was just getting started. The stars waited patiently as they always had. They waited to see what humanity would do next. Whatever it would be something the universe had never seen before. That was the human way.